It's the most magical time of year again, and I have a holiday collection that's both affordable and adorable. Welcome back. We're in our holiday pajamas because we're doing a full Colourpop holiday review of the Frosty the Snowman collection. I am ready to go. I've got my red holiday headband on to protect the hair from the products. I have my these are my actual holiday pajamas that I'm wearing here. These are from Adore Me a few seasons ago, a few years ago. And today we're going to be doing our Frosty the Snowman collection. I was gifted the whole collection. I was really excited about it. I always am excited about the holiday collections from Colourpop because they're high quality and they're always with something iconic. If you've noticed in the last few years, we had the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer collection. We have the It's a Small World collection. So I was happy to see that this is what they partnered with. The collection is quite big and it starts off with the palette, but we've got palettes, we've got highlighters, we've got eyeshadow jelly, much eyeshadow duos, we've got luxe lipstick pencils, color changing, but we have a lot of stuff to go through, but we're going to start with the palette. So this is the Frosty the Snowman eyeshadow palette. What I loved about it is immediately the outer packaging has that like holographic snowflake design. I love how each shade is in its individual snowflake. The packaging also reflects the color story and color theme of the shadows themselves. The inner packaging, the actual palette itself, also has that holographic snowflake on it. And again, the iconography of the Frosty the Snowman movie that we all grew up watching. Inside the palette, we have the picture of Frosty the Snowman and the rabbit. If you notice, the color theme is really icy, pinks, lilacs, teals. This is like exactly the color story of Frosty the Snowman. Like when I imagine it and when I remember watching it, just that very like icy, just that very soft color story. And I feel like this is kind of Y2K coded. I said this on Instagram when I was talking about it there. If you want to have first dibs on things that I talk about, or you want to see my reviews, or you want to follow along with New York City lifestyle and food, you can check me out on Instagram at Recycled Stardust, where I tend to talk about these things in my stories before I come here. But I feel like this is kind of Y2K coded, that new millennium, metallic frosty look that we all had at the time, which if you remember, that time period was kind of bouncing off of what we seen in the 60s. And if I'm correct, this movie came out in the 60s, if I'm correct-ish. So it's just a third iteration of this kind of color story, and I'm just happy to see it because it's the colors I would have worn in high school. And if you're a Gen Z and you're watching this, hi. I think these shades would look amazing on you, but we're going to swatch them up and we're going to see how they perform. So the first shade we got is Happy Birthday, and this is an actual glitter, which means that when you feel it, it will be a little bit gritty, a little bit grainy. Whenever I'm talking about these shades specifically, the ones that are more softer to the touch, I always say like use your finger, don't use a fluffy brush because you will get it will become a little bit messy. And if you want to have maximum impact, use your finger or use a dense C-shaped brush. So that first shade is Happy Birthday. The second shade is Wishy Washy. Now this one has a little bit, if you saw when we did the up close, this one has a little bit of like micro shimmer in it, and this one would do best by packing that shadow on with a dense brush. Again, a very dense brush, or using your finger to pat it on to Party Proof Primer or any other primer that you have. The next one is Jolly Soul, and all the metallic shades from Colourpop always have like this creamy consistency to them. This one is no different. And then we have Splendid, which is my favorite shade of this whole palette, this beautiful icy blue, that like 90s blue. Here they are up close. Here are the finger swatches up close so you can see them. We're also going to test them out on my hand. Now I always say this, that finger swatches don't always do justice to what a shadow could look like, because a brush is always going to apply a shadow differently than a finger would. But just to get an idea of what the shadow looks like, we're going to do the finger swatches, and then we're going to do a look so you can see how they perform on the lid. So we have that first shade. So as you see, that first shade, which looked a little bit white on the finger, actually winds up being this beautiful reflective pink that when you're not in the light, it just looks like it's a nude, but as soon as it hits the right light, that glitter comes to life. And I like that it's not too chunky. It's actually very small, very demure, very small. Now the second shade was that icy kind of, oh my goodness, this is so pretty. I will do an up close, but I'm just, from what I can see with my eyes, it's just this, it's a beautiful blue, and the micro shimmer is actually a teal. Then we have that beautiful metallic that I said applies kind of creamy. And then my favorite shade in this palette was this blue. So this is up close. You can see that glitter is more reflective than anything. You can see that micro shimmer in that beautiful wishy-washy shade, the silver metallic Jolly Soul. And then that shade Splendid. This one I'd probably use a primer with to make it amplified, but these are just so gorgeous. Is that last shade on top, which was Thermometer. Now, there's something I said on my Instagram, and I'm gonna say it here, and it's gonna be new to you guys, but if you're coming from my Instagram, it's old to you guys. So here we go. This is Thermometer, right? And it's kind of like a smoky purple. I'm gonna really, okay. So it's like a smoky purple, right? Now, I had received all at once the Halloween collections and the holiday collection. And one thing I noticed is that there was similarities between this shade and the Foolish Mortals palette that just came out. And just, I mean, I want you to look at this palette and look at this palette and tell me you don't see some shades popping out, right? I'm not crazy. I know I'm not crazy. So I thought this looked so much like Portrait Chamber. This one here. I thought it looked so similar to that I'm going to swatch them up and I want to see how similar they are. Oh my God, look at how close those shades are. These shades are so close. Yes, there is subtle difference here. You know, I can definitely see that, but they're so close. So the bottom one here, this one's from Frosty, and the top one, that's from Foolish. And you can see they're like almost in the same color family, just one is a little bit lighter. Also thought that the Bride from the Foolish Mortals palette was also really similar to Jolly Soul, so I did a quick swatch up of them. Now this is Jolly Soul versus the Bride. Jolly Soul is the bottom one, and then the Bride is the top one. These ones were so close too. This one silver is silvering just a little bit more, and that's the Frosty one, but the shades are so close. So wild to me how close these shades really are. And this is why I say to you guys that it doesn't matter if a palette says it's for Halloween or the holidays. Sometimes you can just reuse shades, or shades are so close that you could take a palette like a Halloween collection palette and make it work for the holiday season. Like, honestly, I'm not here to tell you to overconsume. If you have one, you might not need the other depending on your color aesthetic. But if you're looking for something that's strictly holiday and frosty and very blue, cool toned light, this is your palette. If you like a mix of light and dark, Foolish Mortals will get you through the holiday season just as well. Just letting you know that. Okay, so now we're gonna swatch up the next row. Like, I'm here to give you information. I'm just here to tell you how it is. And then you get to make your own decisions. All right, so now we have the next row here, which we have Always Very Merry, Something Wonderful, which is a glitter. It's another one that feels soft to the texture, that you don't need a primer with, and you want to use your fingers or a very dense brush to apply. Ice and Snow is another one. There's a lot of glitters in this palette, so be aware of that. If you're not a glitter palette fan, this one might not be for you. December Wind, creamy metallic. So this is, I mean, honestly, this whole palette only has 7, only has 7 matte shadows. So that's a lot more metallic and glittery shades in comparison to how many mattes you have. So again, you got to think of the formulas you like. If you're not a fan of this kind of formula, be mindful of that. The shades are beautiful though. All right, so the first one, that matte shade, which honestly in the palette, it looks so much more gray, but when you swatch it up, you can really see the purple pop. And this is like when I tell you guys, like, different shades look different on different people, and that's why sometimes you might see a swatch and say, oh, that looks totally different on you than it does on me. It has to do with your coloring. So in the palette, since it's to light palette, it looks so much lighter and grayer, but on me it's like leaning this beautiful shade of purple. All right, and then we have this beautiful glitter. This one was Something Wonderful. And like, I'm doing a double take because I swatched Something Wonderful, which looks blue, right? Something Wonderful. But when I swatch it, it swatches like purple. Like, it looks purple. I'll do a close up too. But like with my blind eye, like, it looks purple. Not my blind eye, my sided eye. I have a blind eye too. But it looks purple to me. Then we have Ice and Snow. Beautiful shade here. And then the last one is December Wind, which is that beautiful metallic. So I want you to take another look at It's Always Very Merry, just so you can really see how brown it is in the palette. When it's swatched on my hand, you can see that purple tone and just how different it looks. Same can be said about Something Wonderful that looks like it's like an icy teal shade, but the swatch looks purple. And then we have that beautiful teal glitter and then the metallic silver. So it's just so funny how the shades will wind up translating on different skin tones. And the last shade in this line is Busy, 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 which I thought that this would have a glitter texture, but it's actually a more metallic texture. And you can see that it has like that purpley green teal, purple and teal lean to it. And when we get to the bottom shade, we have Button Nose, which is a gray matte shade. Then we have 1969, which is another glitter shade. I told you there was a lot here. Christmas Snow is a white with white shimmer in it. Again, you're going to want to pat this shade on. Then we have the North Pole, which is like a gunmetal shade. And I'm going to use my thumb just so we can finish it out. And this is Frosty's Hat, which is just a pure matte black. And we're going to swatch these all out. Beautiful application on that matte shade. The glitter, again, beautiful. The Frosty White, it is a little streaky, so this one, instead of swiping, when you apply it, make sure you pat it. We have the beautiful gunmetal shade, and finally the matte black. So all of them performed really well with this white one. Whites are kind of typically tricky, so you do want to pat that on over an eyeshadow primer, but all of them look gorgeous. So here's a nice up close of these swatches. That gunmetal is gorgeous. The black, the white, you can see is a little streaky, but honestly, that's just how that white is going to apply when you use your finger. You're going to want to pat that on over a primer. But all of these are stunning. So my take on the Frosty the Snowman palette is that it has a wealth of different shades. If you are not a fan of icy, lilac, blue, white, teal, if that's not your jam, if you don't like glitters, totally get it. This will not be for you, but if you like that aesthetic, I feel like this is the perfect holiday palette for you. I could see uses for this beyond the holiday season, especially, like I said, if you're into the Y2K look, that late 90s, very early 2000s kind of aesthetic. If you like a frostier look on your eye, if you like shadows that can double as highlighters on the cheek, I always love a good multi-use palette, or you just like cool toned shades. These are cool toned blues, lilacs, well, glittery lilacs, just cool tone shades in general. If that's your thing, I think you'll really like this palette. Or if you just like a good holiday palette, maybe you collect them, maybe you grew up with Frosty the Snowman, I feel like you would like this palette. The quality is fantastic. There's only one shade that I kind of had an issue with, and that was the Christmas Snow, but I feel like that's more of like an application issue. I would say, like I said, dense brush, pat it onto your eyeshadow primer. Don't be swiping it on with your finger, because you're not going to get the same, it's not going to be the same application. We will do a look with this shortly. Let's finish reviewing the products. We're going to go through all of them, and then we're going to do a look using them. Next up, we have Snow Days, which is 2 mini jelly much shadows in the shades Freezin' and Made of Snow. They have holographic music notes and snowflakes on the cap. One is a silvery lilac, while the other one is a bright baby blue. Now, I don't think I've really ever seen them package their jelly much shadows in glass. Usually I've seen it in the plastic. Listen, I love glass packaging, so I'm all here for it. Let's get these swatched up. One thing you'll notice about the jelly much shadows is the textures. When you touch them, they have like a springy texture, and they're more liquidy than the Super Shock shadows. You'll also notice that once they're set, and they do not budge, they do not crease. This one here is Made of Snow, and this one is Freezin', and this is the blue one. So as you can see, these are a little bit on the sheer side. I love to layer these on top of other shadows, or when I want a sheer wash of color. They do have a little bit more of a shimmery shine to them. And again, you can use them over powder eyeshadows or on their own. I've used them as liner, but once they're set, they do not budge. So if you want a crease-proof application, leave your eyes open, let it dry, and then open them, and you won't have any creasing, even if you have hooded eyelids. Next up, we have the Super Shock highlights. We have this duo that contains Winter Wonder and Icicle Spray. I don't even know what that is, but this set is called the Fastest Belly Whopper. Winter Wonder is a pearlized Super Shock highlight, and Icicle Spray is a tie-dye pearlized Super Shock highlight. Figured let's give a real life swatch of what this would look like rather than just swatching on the hand. So we're going to start with Icicle Spray, and I'm going to swirl all the colors together. So that's that. And I'm going to apply it right on the cheek. So instantly I'm noticing like a little bit of pinkness in this Frosty shade. There's just like a little bit of pinkness. There's a little bit of shimmer, but it's not exactly glittery. And then the shade Winter Wonder. This is Winter Wonder, and this one is more of a pure white. So that's Winter Wonder versus Icicle Spray. Both of these definitely pack a punch. These are highlighters, blinging highlighters. Blinding highlight could probably apply a little bit less. But you can definitely see that this one, because it's got those pinky peachy tones, there's just like a little bit of pinkness, there's a little bit of shimmer, but this is Winter Wonder and this one is more of a pure white. Realistically, for everyday use, I prefer the tie-dye one, Icicle Spray, just because even up close, it just looks a little bit more flattering, a little bit more natural on the skin, whereas this is a bit much. This is a bit much. Like maybe I would use the pure white one for the eyeshadow, or maybe I would just use a lot less when applying it. Of course, things apply differently when you use a brush. Now I've got for you guys, this is the Happy Jolly Fun and Snow Much Fun Luxe Lipstick and Lippy Pencil Duo Sets. Each one features a lipstick and a lippy pencil. The Happy Jolly Fun has Over the Hills Lippy Pencil and First Snow Luxe Lipstick Cream. And the Snow Much Fun has the Magic Hat Lippy Pencil with the Silly Snowman Luxe Lipstick Cream. We're going to swatch these sets up, starting with the Happy Jolly Fun, which is the nude set. We're going to start with the pencil, which is Over the Hills. Immediately, I noticed that this shade is so close to my normal lip shade. So if you are a neutral girly or a neutral person, this is for you. So this is the lip liner up close. Immediately, I love it because it's just the perfect neutral shade that adds like depth, and it does make my lips look bigger even if I was just wearing it on its own. And now we're going to put on the lipstick. This is First Snow, which is that beautiful nude shade with the embossing on it. Now the shade is a little bit lighter than the lip liner. It is creamy. It blends really nicely out. I feel like the two complement each other. There's no bleeding, there's no feathering. This is just very comfortable on the lips. And I think it's a very flattering lip combo too. Now this set is Snow Much Fun. It's a little bit deeper, a little bit more holiday. So the lippy pencil's in Magic Hat. It's a little bit deeper of a shade, but it's not too, I thought it was going to be a little bit darker. And the reason why I keep pushing my lips together is to kind of blur it out a little bit, blur those edges so they're not as sharp. It's like it kind of matches the color of my sweater. Here's that lip shade up close. Both of these lip liners I would be content to wear with a clear lip gloss over them, but today we're going into this beautiful like kind of like reddish, almost like bricky shade, and it's called Silly Snowman. Here's that lip combo up close. I love that it's not like a hussy red. You know what I mean? That red that older individuals would go, oh, you're wearing whore's red. It's not hussy red. It's a very like wearable holiday red without being like red. Do you know what I mean? I like how flattering this red is. I like this take on the red holiday lip, and it's super creamy. I love how the liner and the lipstick pair really well together. I think both of these sets are just very flattering, and I think they'd be flattering for a lot of different skin tones. Next, we have a lip trio. This is the Chill Out So Juicy Plumping Gloss Bomb Trio. You get 3 shades of the gloss bomb that's plumping: Frozen, All Melted, and Feeling Like Frosty. So all different states of frost, of snowman. Frozen, melted, frosty. Now, if you've never tried this formula, they are going to feel a little bit spicy, a little bit plumping on the lip. It's going to have a little bit of a tingle to it. Now, this is the first time I've seen special colored packaging for the So Juicy line. We have that light blue packaging here. Now, these are in the shades like a pinky peach, a berry shade, and a red. Remember that when you click these up from the bottom, these little clicker things here, they do not go back down, so only click up what you need. And I'm going to swatch them all for you, starting with Frozen, which is this neutral pinky peachy shade. So one thing I'm noticing is that this one has like a different scent. I'm looking at the card they sent me over. I don't see any indication that they have a different scent. Maybe I'm just like imagining it. But they smell like cinnamon vanilla versus like regular vanilla. This one is a very neutral shade. I'll be honest with you, this is perfect for everyday wear, and it's going to plump your lips up ever so slightly. I think this would look great with any one of the liners from Colourpop, but overall I love this one for everyday or for more neutral looks. Next we have All Melted, which is that berry shade. You have to remember that these are a little sheer, so they're not going to be as deep as you see in the tube. Did have a little bit of buildable color here, but we're definitely not getting full opacity with this product because it is more of like a balm. But I do love how it adds a little bit of depth to my lip. But I do love how this shade is a little bit deeper, and it definitely gives you that fall vibe. So whether you're doing a holiday look or you're still doing autumn festivities, this shade would be perfect. And lastly, we have this red, and this one is called Feeling Like Frosty. So this one has quite a bit of pigmentation. And this one kind of reminds me of a glossier version of Silly Snowman. I feel like these shades are really similar. Not the same, but definitely similar. This is the like glossier version of this one. And I feel like honestly, these would be really fun to layer, like put the lipstick on and then the plumping gloss to add a little bit of shine to it. I feel like that would be a really good combination. And lastly, before I wipe my lips away completely, we have one last lip product, and that is the Welcome to the North Pole Candy Lip Mask and Scrub Set. So you have both of these to both prep your lips and keep them hydrated. And I love that Frosty is literally popping off the packaging for this set. Personally, I've always been obsessed with their lip masks and lip scrubs because I always like keeping my lips looking hydrated and smooth. You get both of them together, and again, they have that beautiful snowflake and music note holographic top, just like the Jelly Mud Shadow. This is the Have a Parade lip scrub. It is a light sugar scrub. It has a peppermint candy cane scent. Essentially, you would rub this on the lips. Okay, I have two notes. Anytime I've ever used a sugar scrub from them, it had a much grainier, thicker texture. This has the lightest scrub texture, and I don't know if I'm disappointed because like I'm rubbing it on and it feels like a gloss. That's why I had to look at it and make sure that I was actually using the scrub and not the gloss, because every time I've ever used one of their scrubs, they were like scrub, like they had like the grainy texture to exfoliate the lips. I'm not feeling any of that. I also noticed that this sugar scrub has like a little bit of a metallic sheen on my lips. So this is the sugar scrub, but you can see there's a metallic sheen, which is kind of weird if you're a scrub that I'm wiping off. And here it is in the pot. You can see it's just not as textured as ones in the past were. I dug deep, and once I got deep, you can see I got some of those crystals. So I actually dug a huge amount out. And as I got towards the bottom, I did notice, not the bottom, but like the middle, I noticed I got some of those scritchy, scratchy scrubbies. So I think that maybe the top layer just didn't have it. So I'm going to try this product again. All right, before we write this one off, when I really stuck my finger in deep, you saw there was the actual scratchy sugar. There it is. There it is. That's the way it's supposed to be. You see how it has that little texture there like you saw on the hand? You can see the scrub. You can see it on my lips. I'll do it up close so you can see it. That's what you're supposed to expect. It's supposed to be a little scratchy because you're rubbing away the dead skin on your lips. I do think it's a little silly that they put like this like shimmer in it, especially since it's a product you're going to wipe off. And yes, I do get a little messy with mine. I'm actually going to wipe the excess off my hand. So if you use this product and you don't have these pieces of, you see the sugar here, the scrub, you don't have those pieces, that grainy pieces, you might need to dig a little bit deeper in, because those little things right there, that's what's going to actually exfoliate your lips. So you need those pieces of sugar. You need to feel that texture on your hand in order for it to actually exfoliate your lips. So my advice is, if you're just swirling the surface, you might not be getting those crystals. The sugar crystals might have settled a little bit. So make sure you kind of like dig it a little bit. So once I digged in, I can tell you that this was wonderful. My first impression was not it. But now that I've used it, my lips feel soft, smooth, there's no dead skin. And another thing that I say all the time on Instagram is that when you use a sugar scrub on the lip, not only are you removing dead skin and making your lips look smoother, what you're doing is you're also getting blood circulation to go to your lips, which means your lips are going to look fuller and more plump. Who doesn't want that? So you're immediately starting your routine off by making your lips more plump. There's also the lip mask. Now, this doesn't say it's an overnight lip mask. I feel like all the lip masks used to say overnight lip mask and they don't anymore. Oh, so this one has a little bit of like a sparkle in it. So you can see there's that like slight sparkle in there. It's subtle. So I'm wondering if this is going to also have that metallic sheen that the scrub had. Even when they said overnight lip mask, I always used them as part of my pre-makeup routine, because I always felt like having a product that's going to mask your lips in the same way we're using our moisturizer is important. You want to have that hydration sitting while you do the rest of your look. This way, when you go to do your lip look, your lips look more hydrated and full because you've given them moisture. So it does have that like slight sheen, like that metallic-y sheen that the scrub had. But like the scrub had more. Like I want this to have that. But the peppermint scent is amazing. I love the mintiness of it. I feel like it's even a little tingly. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be. It's a little tingly. It does feel incredibly hydrating. I love that it is a lip mask, so you can wear it like a balm, but it's more intended to be a mask. Like honestly, put it on before you go to sleep at night, put it on before you do your makeup routine, and it's gonna leave your lips very hydrated and like ready to go when it's makeup time. And the last product we have in this collection is the latex-free blending sponge that changes color from baby blue to white when wet. And the shape of a snowman is not only cute, but it has multiple uses for makeup application on the face. All right, so I got a cup of water. It's warm. We're gonna test this out. We're gonna put Frosty in the water. Okay, we're gonna squeeze out the water. And there is Frosty. Did he change color? He kind of looks a little bit more white, right? He looks more white, right? So here is wet Frosty. And he is now white. He went from blue to white. All right, so now that we swatched this whole collection and we've done our mini review, which honestly, there wasn't a single thing here that I didn't like, we're going to do a full look using Colourpop's Frosty the Snowman collection. Let's go. Now before I start any Colourpop routine with their makeup, I always start with their skincare, so I'm going to be using some favorites from the 4th Ray Beauty line. Starting off with the Avocado and Aloe Double Shot Serum. I love this because I have sensitive skin, and if I use makeup too much, too often, my skin gets red. So the aloe in this product helps to calm down my skin, while the avocado adds moisture. And this is a serum, so I apply it to my face and then I pat it in. And I like that even though this is like a half oil, half serum, it doesn't feel heavy. My skin is not, my face doesn't feel greasy. Makeup doesn't slip and slide, which is important to me. And I follow up with the Good Mood Gel Moisturizer. This is an incredibly lightweight, lightly scented moisturizer. It's one of my daily products that I use every single day, whether I'm doing it as part of my pre-makeup routine or as just my skincare routine, because my skin absorbs it so quickly. And again, my makeup doesn't slip and slide when I use it, and it's just a lightweight, fast absorbing product. Who doesn't want that? I'm also using the So Radiant Eye Cream just a little bit underneath the eyes because I do feel like I have a lot of darkness under there, and I want to brighten it up a little bit and add a little bit more extra hydration. And lastly, I'm using their Do It Balm, and I'm using that lightly all over the face. This is a hyaluronic acid stick, and anywhere that I have signs of aging, I try to add a little bit of this on. Now, while all this sits and stews, we can start doing our eyeshadow. For this look, I am using the Party Proof Primer just so we can use some of their lighter shades and we can get them to pop. I like that Party Proof Primer is a sheerer primer so that it's not going to interact with or change any of the shades that we're going to be using. Now, I did say that Splendid, this beautiful blue, was my favorite shade of the palette, so I want to put that all over the lid. Now, oh, see, this is what I'm talking about. Remember I told you there's a big difference sometimes with how we apply things, brush versus finger. So I want to let you know that this shade, as much as I love it, and as pretty as it is, it does have some kickback. So please be careful when using this. Avoid a fluffy brush, and when using this kind of brush, really go lightly with it. Otherwise, you are going to have a little bit kickback in the palette. It's not the end of the world, but nobody likes kickback. So now I am patting this shade on all over the lid. I want it to be nice and dense just because I want this to really pop. I always loved that like 1960s powder blue aesthetic on the lids. I always thought that was just so beautiful. And when I was a little girl and I used to play with makeup, I think it was my grandmother had bought me like this stack of eyeshadows. They were cream eyeshadows. And I put blue eyeshadow all over my lid and I thought I was the most beautiful. I did that with red lipstick. I thought I was gorgeous. I still can see myself as a little girl. I could see myself looking in the mirror right by our front door, you know, and I could see myself. It's like a wicker style mirror. And just like I could barely peek. I was a tall little girl, but like my face was like just above the end of the mirror. And I just remember thinking, wow, I'm so beautiful. And it was that blue eyeshadow that made me feel so beautiful. So it's so funny how like we can associate certain colors and just memories with certain colors. And when I think of blue eyeshadow, I think of, you know, what I wanted to look like as a little girl. Which was I was a little girl in the early 90s. And I just wanted color. So this is taking me back. So I applied this all over the lid. I do want to blend it out, but I'm afraid to use a fluffy brush in here. I might just have to do it or just apply a little bit heavier and then blend it out on the lid. Let's try that. Let's blend it out on the lid. So I just want to soften up the top. And then I'm going to go just slightly. I'm going to like pick up all that kickback in there. All the kickback that fell. Because I really want this look to blue. I want it to blue. Okay, I want it to blue. So I'm visually impaired, and right now like every fiber of my being wants me to put something right there, but I feel like I'm gonna mess it up and I don't want to mess up this look. So I'm not gonna do that, but I am gonna put a little bit of shimmer on here. So I'm gonna go into 1969, which is this glitter, and I'm gonna put a little bit of that on the lid. I'm not gonna go too crazy. Like you saw if you swatch this, how like beautifully pigmented it is. I just want to put a little bit of something on the lid. I don't want to go full glitter. I just want to get a little like shimmer and shine on the lid. So some little sparkle on there. I think that's beautiful. It's like, it's popping. I love how much it's popping. Okay, now we'll do something on the lower lash line, but I want to wait until we've actually put on our concealer and all of that. So now I'm going to be using the Colourpop brow pencil to fill in my brows. I'm honestly not doing anything too crazy. My philosophy with brows is just make them look better than they do. My brows have a little bit of sparseness and they need some shape and they need to be filled in ever so slightly. They don't need anything crazy. I don't particularly follow brow trends. I never really did. Even back in the day when everybody was doing like Anastasia Beverly Hills dip down brow, I was like, I'm not doing the Instagram brow. I'm just gonna be doing what I do. So I would say for this look, if you're following along, just do whatever brows you make you feel the most confident. For me, I just want to fill them in and give them some extra shape, and I'm using the Colourpop brow pencil to do that. So now I'm going to put on a little mascara. I'm using the Level Up mascara from Colourpop. This is one of my favorite mascaras because it's super affordable. Under $10 for a mascara. This is a lengthening mascara, and I feel like it really does add a lot of length and even more fullness to my lashes. I'm going to show you like a before and after. I'll show you a side-by-side comparison, because if you are wondering like, are affordable mascaras worth it? I'm here to tell you astoundingly and an absolutely yes. Especially when you have no lashes, you might be a little bit like skeptical, you might be a little bit apprehensive to get a more affordable mascara, but I'm telling you, this one's great. I think you guys can even see it from there, just how much of a big difference we have. I'm just trying to make sure all my lashes are separated. I mean, you can see, but I'm gonna bring you in. So now not only can you see the eyeshadow, but you can also see the difference between with mascara and without. This is like only one coat of mascara. I usually do two, so I let it sit for a second and then I like twirl my brush as I go up. But it really is night and day when you have no lashes and then you find a mascara that actually like gives you lashes. It's like, oh, that's what normal people lashes look like. So we are finished with the mascara. I love how the eye look came out. It's simple, but it works. I'm also going to put a little bit of shadow underneath the brow bone just because I want to use another shade, and I was kind of obsessed with this Something Wonderful, this like bluey sheer shade, so I'm going to put that right under the brow, only because it's a holiday look. For a normal look, I probably wouldn't wear this much blue or this much shimmer, but we're being frosty, so we can. I'm going to put a little bit of concealer, and this is the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Concealer. It's got skincare built right into it. We love skin-loving, skincare-infused products here, especially when they are in the face products, because you wear them all day, and when you wear skincare-infused makeup products, color face products, what happens is you're getting those benefits all day long, just like as if you were go to sleep and you would wear skincare before you go to sleep. Same concept. Now we're going to use our Frosty blender. He has turned blue again, even though he's wet. We're not going to re-dip him, but it was fun seeing him go from blue to white. We're going to use, actually, I don't want to use his butt. I want to use his hat to blend in my concealer. So we're using Frosty's hat to blend out that concealer. And then we're going to be using the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer all over the face to kind of keep the face looking luminant, you know, nice and like kind of glowy. And we're going to use Frosty's butt for this one. Now the Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid not foundation, the tinted moisturizer has a sheerer coverage, so as long as you don't mind a sheerer coverage, you're good to go with this. This is going to keep your skin moisturized all day, and it has that hyaluronic acid in it, which is also going to help plump up fine lines and make you look more youthful. Personally, I love how natural it makes my skin look. My skin still looks luminous, it looks healthy, it looks dewy, and I don't always need to cover up everything on my face. You will still see. Now, I told you when we did the swatches, I preferred the Icicle Spray Super Shock Highlight just because it had those peach and purpley tones mixed into that bright white, and I feel like it would be more flattering. I did a simple swirl, and I'm going to apply this nice and high on the cheekbones, and I definitely find this a lot more flattering than the other one. This one has just a little bit more dimension to it, so I feel like it just looks nicer. It flatters the skin a little bit more. I don't want to add too much warmth to this look. I do feel like I need a little bit of something else on the face. So I'm going into the Soul Body. This is the medium face and body bronzing balm. And I'm just going to use like the tiniest amount on the upper part of my cheek. And I'm going to kind of blend that in just to give a little, this is a very cool look, but it's like, I feel like I just need a touch of warmth to balance things out so that I don't wind up looking like washed out. So I applied that very, very lightly just to give a little bit of something to the face. Now I'm going back into the Frosty palette. I'm going to go into the shade Very, Very Merry right here. Apply just a little bit of this shade. It's like a grayish. You saw it was even a little purple on my swatch on my hand. I'm going to apply that just slightly underneath the lower lash line, and it's going to give just a little bit of depth to this look. It gives it so that the eyes don't look like they're starkly blue. It gives a more rounded out appearance. We're going to go once again into the Level Up mascara. which adds a little bit of lengthening to those lower lashes and again rounds out the look. Now we're going into the Happy Jolly Fun Lip Duo, which includes Over the Hills Lip Pencil and First Snow Luxe Lipstick. Now you've already seen me swatch this up, so I just finished applying the lip liner and now I'm going in with the lipstick. I'm actually going to top it with a little bit of the So Juicy Plumping Lip Balm in Frozen. This is the nudie shade. It adds a little bit of gloss to the look, as well as some plumping. That finishes the Frosty the Snowman look. Here is an up close of the eye, the skin, and the lips. What I have to say about this collection is it's fun, it's festive, and there's not a single thing here that I don't like. The palette performed amazingly. The only thing I will say about it is be careful with some of the matte shades. They do have a little bit of kickback in the palette, but they apply gorgeously. All the mattes are smooth, buttery, pigmented. The metallics are almost like cream, and the glitter, whether you're doing just a hint of color or a full-on glittery look, you saw with the swatches on my hand, you can do so much with this palette. Everything is icy and cool toned, so keep that in mind. It's teal, it's blue, it's white, it's ice, it's the holidays. It is Frosty the Snowman. The lip products were fantastic, and I feel like whether you're doing a holiday look or just want some good lip products in some beautiful blue packaging, I love that they put that theme through everything. Even the embossing on the lipstick. The Jelly Much eyeshadows were gorgeous. The highlighters, I didn't particularly like the stark white one. I'm gonna have to figure out how I can use that in other ways. I've used highlight on my eye before, I've used highlight on my lip before, so I feel like if you don't mind using products in a different way, you can definitely use it for other things like that. Or if you're gonna apply it to the cheek, maybe use a lot less. I'm definitely gonna give that a try again in the future. But at this moment, first impressions, it wasn't my favorite. But it's not that I don't like it, because it still had a great formula, and I know that there's a million ways that I can use it. Just on my cheeks, it was a little much, but everything else was amazing. I would highly recommend everything in this collection. I always love the affordability and the price point of Colourpop, so if you're looking for an affordable holiday collection that you could buy the whole thing of and not break the bank, this would be it. A lot of people grew up watching Frosty the Snowman, myself included, and for me this was just a whole bunch of nostalgia, just Christmas, holiday season, warm, feel-good feelings with this collection. So is this a collection that you guys would try? Did you grow up watching it? Are you too young? It's okay, I totally understand. But did you grow up watching this? Is this a collection you're interested in? Let me know. If you did enjoy this collection, I would love to hear your thoughts, and if you didn't like it, let's debate, let's talk about it. I want to hear what you didn't like. If you're new here and you would like to see more, make sure you subscribe or like this video, leave me some comments. Let's get a chat going. If you're on Instagram and you want to follow along with New York City lifestyle, food, fashion, and beauty, you can give me a follow at Recycled Stardust. And if you're on TikTok and you want to learn a little bit more about Native history, heritage, and culture, you can find me at Recycled Stardust with no E before the D, because somebody had my name before me. And as always, I appreciate every single one of you, and thank you for watching.